last week, talked about the release, no demos. We talked about tenancy page. There's a question from the series. Today is 24. We have a demo. We have a demo.
I would actually have multiple ones.
We have the demos from Zoltan, maybe David, Zoltan.
I think David has one as well.
Yeah, sorry, I have one for the for a front-end based team.
Topics. We'll see with the what it is. Then status, altered one. Nothing new, altered code. Altered code, what's new since the 17? This one, this is a branch. Why do I see branches here and why is it called NS? And it's not the same contributor. Now I'm confused. Let's see. That's a branch. So let's probably a PR. That is on main. Use extension method to update OpenId application descriptor, and we merged that. Remember, for OpenID, fixing the. I think the recipes, something. Remove form tag from a load tag string sanitization, something I provided, which is that now we explicitly remove the form tag when we do sanitization. The default HTML sanitizer service doesn't do that, but for security reasons, I decided to do it and documented that if you want to be able to render form tags, then you need to configure it. The documentation explains how to configure it a little bit above, or just there, here, the line after. Here. Yeah. Fix typo in TaxonomyContentsAdminListFilter. Oh, new contributor. In our IUpdateModel and BuildPartDisplayContext in console log. Yeah, so when something is serialized from console log, these members don't matter, so now they are ignored. Revert Bootstrap-Select to beta 2. Firstman did that. Fixing an issue with Bootstrap 5. Fix various issues with the hybrid flow. We had some discussions with Michael about that, and Kevin fixed it. Fix editor when GroupId is provided. Yeah, so apparently on the admin, when you were passing a GroupId for admin editors, there was an issue. So there are lots of changes, but actually there's just one or two lines that were changed. It's just that there was some indentation change, and then the diff is completely messed up. Update Codemirror SHA. This one is surprising. Again, something changed. However, this time just may use the SHA 512. which is a bit longer. But I checked online the URL, and the content were the same as what we had, so I don't know why there are issues sometimes. Security module has been merged. Congratulations. Shall. But why did you decide to enable it on all the recipes?
Well, why not?
But why? There must be a reason to do it now. Do you think it's more secure, even if you did not set any properties?
The basics, yes. There are a couple of headers that are useful.
But if you don't go to the configuration, does it actually do anything?
Yeah, we have some default.
Okay. Test with me. I mean, no security. We'll see that. Okay. Okay. One second. Oh, that's in the view. Okay, that's in the view, so that's perfect. I'm thinking it's a switch case. That's good. So is it used inside this? I'm not sure. That as a method, but that will work. That's the same. Okay, that makes the HTML cleaner. Good. Just always worried whenever I see localization, so we can't mess up with that. That's good because it's in the regular file. Okay, awesome. So this one, use display names in registration setting. Okay. Codemirror update. Okay, so when I see this PR, what do they think I think about? By now, it should be obvious.
Well,
Okay, oof. Oh, that was my bad. I didn't scroll down. Update the CDN integrity because we keep forgetting. This one set the file changed and the SHA changed, which makes sense. Okay. So everything is using SHA 512. So why did the previous one use another one, 384? That's interesting. Could it be the issue actually that Chrome has a problem, or we had a problem with the 384? That's good to use 512 now. Okay. Fix your issue on security module. Bootstrap 5. Kind of expected because it was a main only. Fix image settings collapsible. Params. Okay. And this one automatically QueryString params to PagerSlim. Some issues with the after, before, and forwarding the route data to the QueryString. Awesome. Jasna. Now we have Zoltan and David. Who wants to do it first?
David, you can go first if you like.
Yes, I would do too. Can you see my screen?
We can see, we can hear you. Perfect.
Good. So I'm talking about the new front-end based theme that we have created. Here you can see a sample for it. But it has some built-in zones, or rather it comes with a recipe that creates these zones. So these might be familiar if you have used for those who have used the Orchard one's previous base theme, because it has the same names. So it can be a common ground. And besides that, it by default uses a front-end menu, same as the admin menu, just uses the main name instead of admin. And we have just added our other modules navigations with it, which can be seen somewhere. Yeah, so it's very similar to normal admin menus, and it uses Bootstrap's menus, so you only get one submenu layer, unfortunately. Besides that, you can, so it comes with a default layout, so you don't have to do anything with that. It automatically adds sets up all the normal things like language, viewport, whatnot, injects the header and injects the latest bootstrap, so it actually overrides the one coming from Orchard core with the one that you set up in your theme via npm, which is good if you need some features that are newer than the ones in the release. And besides that, it just renders the different zones with like elements that make sense, usually div, but sometimes different like nav or footer. Additionally, it adds a very tiny JavaScript helper that just lets you have a ready event and use a query selector role, just because this is pretty much like 90% of why we use jQuery, so it makes the library a bit slimmer. And besides that, it automatically adds this widget. It doesn't do anything by default, but you can theme override it, and then you can inject zones here and other styles and whatnot. Or alternatively, you can use resource filters, which is coming from the coming from the Lombiq helpful libraries, and then you can just register them like this. In the upcoming version, we will also be able to filter these resource filters by the theme that we use, so there will be no conflicts if multiple themes are installed. Okay, what else? And then, so when you use a theme, in this case, it's it includes this base theme project, the submodules, so it's locally there, and then you import across projects. So you can see here's the base file that helps us with like some built-in CSS variables and some SAS variables. This is useful because we have some standardized margins and gutter values. So these can and should be used to have like a uniform look and feel for the pages. And in fact, there are lots of different mixins for that to have to apply padding and margin and flex gap for using these variables, so it becomes very fluid. And besides that, we have just a good structure for it, so this can be mimicked in any theme, and then it's a bit nicer to make it more manageable. Yes. Told about the mixins.
Can you elaborate a bit what the goal of this project is?
It's a pretty good base theme.
Yeah. So our goal is to have all the like common things that you usually do when making a theme, that like the layout and the zones and the setting up variables and the mixins. These should not be needed to repeat. You shouldn't need to repeat these for every theme, and it makes it a bit makes it centralized. And of course, like the other built-in stuff, like the main menu, that's also useful.
The question on the layout, why did you choose to use the code version of generating zones instead of the tag helper? Layout CSHTML. On the left,
yeah. These it is just made an internal structure, these zone descriptors, because they wrap the elements in divs, and also if you have an element, that has like a content has a site first and a site second, for example, those are inside the element, so it handles all these wrappings, but inside itself still uses the it uses display async internally to render these, but adds default classes, like for example, you go to the art here, like adds these layout content classes, and these get default margins. So it does a little bit more than zone. And you can use zone from this layout injection shape if you need to add additional stuff, but the zones themselves are rendered because we want to wrap them.
Nice. That's a lot of work. I'm not used to seeing all these underscore everywhere. But I mean, I'm too old. I'm not doing CSS in a function. Thank you. Is that it? Questions?
Yes, thank you.
Trustman, no question.
Oh, can you share the link to it, David?
The what?
The link, because there's also an example. Well, what David demoed probably wasn't entirely clear is the example project of this. So there's the base theme, which is kind of a library, and then there are examples as well, which demonstrates how you would actually build a theme on top of it.
Yeah, so if you go to our open source Orchard core extensions repository, you will find a sample on the sample list. It's in the themes, and it will send you to this project, which is what I have shown. If you just clone this repository, then you can test it out immediately.
Is it the one that you will use now with the tutorial?
Yes.
How do you bundle your assets?
By hand.
Yeah, that's the question I was at. Because I know that Zoltan was trying to do something which would bundle these.
We are using Gulp. So we use our Gulp extensions module to trigger the compilation at build, and otherwise it's just using Gulp to convert these SAS assets into regular CSS, and then if we need to distribute them, like for example through Nugget, then for now they are just the rendered ones are included.
And what is in this Lombiq Gulp extension recommended setup file?
It's it adds the it calls the SAS through.
Is it a copy of what we had in the source, or it's just adding more?
No, it's a copy. Sorry, I didn't understand.
Is it a copy of what we have in the source, or is it adding more things? Because here, yeah.
Yeah, no, it just transpiles it from SAS into regular CSS files.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Yeah, we are actually moving away from Gulp. The issue being that it doesn't support the latest node. Probably as a next thing, we will just use node scripts and directly do SAS compilation. We have some ongoing experimental project. It's not done yet, but we have this ongoing called node extensions. I shared a link to that in the chat too.
Okay, this is what I was referring to. I thought it was included, but yes, thanks.
Yeah, this is just an upcoming project. We are not finished yet. The hard part is packaging up the whole thing as NuGet. We just couldn't do that with our Gulp extensions project and with Gulp combined with NPM and everything. Yeah, but that's not what I would actually talk about. But anything else to David, or should I go on with my demos and everything?
Go ahead.
I would have 2 demos, yeah, and one announcement. The announcement is this one. So I guess most of the people here have heard of Orchard Core Commerce, which was born out of nvz.commerce, originally created by Bertrand, of course. And the news is, well, the old news as of like 3-4 weeks ago is that we have taken over the stewardship of this project. That's actually meaning that we'll do code reviews and work on features and fixes. To have that, Mark, who is the project leader from our site for it, started this thread and added this survey. This is about asking the community what the most important features for you would be in an Orchard-based e-commerce solution. So if you do e-commerce, or if you have an opinion about e-commerce, please share your opinion here. And yeah, Sebastian, the point with this is not to try to do all the things, but focus on what's really needed. Well, what's really needed first.
Yeah, but when I see all these features, I'm like, if I do an e-commerce, I actually want everything, right? It's kind of sad to say I don't need it. Like, I don't need tax infrastructure. Well, maybe you need it. I don't need discounts. Well,
you see,
I don't need payment provider. Well, I assume that everyone will say yes. I definitely need it now. Like, I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
It's sad, but I mean, yeah.
The really probably response is who don't need anything and it's perfect already.
No, they don't want to. Yeah, I'm sure there will be trolls like this. We'll see. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, if you are doing e-commerce, if you plan on doing e-commerce with Orchard Core, or if you are doing e-commerce with something else, you are actually knowledgeable about the topic and can share your corresponding expertise, please fill this out. I shared the link in the chat. Yes, Sebastian, please.
Yeah, I have one wish. I wish you would make, I'm sure you will, I wish you would make a recipe, or not recipe, but something like a shop, like an online shop, like a demo. A shop that shows an e-commerce with products and people can play with it, and maybe a recipe would be nice, yeah, for sure. But like a default shop to show an e-commerce, that would be great to be able to play with it then like this, if it was a recipe. Like you could point people to it, and it would be integrated in the try.orchard.net. It would look nice. I would love it.
Yeah, I think these recipes that have been already there would be a good start for that. And extending these is definitely the plan. So you have a demo of everything that's built in.
But polished, not like the pretty good base theme, like not the base one, but the finished one with colors and everything. Like something that looks
with actual data, right?
Also, yeah. Pictures, data, like even if it's 3 products, I don't care, but not something like, oh, imagine here there will be a list of products and oh, it's all wireframe, but you can have your custom design. No. Yeah. Like the blog recipe, like the agency, all the recipes we have, they are finished website to show that to people that yes, you can have something that looks nice.
It would be fun to have data from the old Noisette.
If you have
website.
that, yeah.
I can provide that.
That would be actually really fun. Yes, because that's it doesn't get more real than an actual e-commerce site. And I think one of the things that was discussed somewhere is actually providing a theme to, or at least some basic styling. So you can have a pretty e-commerce solution out of the box in every way. Yeah, so that would be about e-commerce. And now I would have 2 demos. Both of them are for Hisham and about things that Hisham has done. So I'm just demoing. I didn't do this. Credit goes to Hisham. And the first thing would be the new security module, which is nicely documented here as well. The security module right now really focuses on security-related HTTP headers, really. Of course, you don't need a module for that, or you can write your own. You can just add the headers directly. But the point here was, well, to provide some defaults, and secondly, provide a way to easily configure them also from the admin, which is especially interesting, of course, if you have a multi-tenant application and you don't want to hand configure everything for everybody from code. And how it works is that, well, you enable the security feature, and now under security settings, oh no, I didn't get the latest.
Yeah, you need to update to the latest. We fixed that.
but didn't I do that? Oh, that's sad. Yeah. So as Sebastian also pointed out, the in main there was a fix because there was an issue with the UI. This one that we didn't actually notice during review because it needs Bootstrap code from main. So let me actually restart the whole app behind the scenes. Until it's loading, what you would see here is a UI to, well, edit the security headers. Also a note here, the UI, the admin UI is not the only way to edit them. So just as with all these technical modules, it's also possible to configure it from the environment, from app settings or something like that. There's also an example included there, similar to this one. So you can also have the same configuration for the whole application, regardless of admin configs, but you can also have admin configs separate for every tenant if you have a multi-tenant application. So let's try again, and now I see it. So all of these are, well, very technical. So I wouldn't go into that because, well, they are all very well explained on MDN or something like that. But the main sections is that we have content security policy related headers, pretty much all of these that are widely used and supported by browsers. We also have permission policy headers, so everything related to various peripherals, devices, etc. And finally, we also have one configuration for referral policy. You may notice that we don't have anything related to HTTPS here, which is indeed the case. The HSTS header configuration is currently in the HTTPS module. One of the ideas is to bring everything from there into the security module as well, hence why the name of the module is also security and not just security headers or something like that. And yeah, believe me, these actually work, because if we check this out, I hope that's not broken on main in the meantime. Yeah, so the referrer policy is now no referrer, and of course, if we change it to something like origin, then yeah, well, not here because this is just a post. Then we see it being changed. So it actually works. Same thing happens from F settings or other ASP.NET configuration providers too. So if you would like to use it, check out the latest source or the latest nightly build, and check out, of course, the documentation as well.
Just a stupid comment. Why isn't the security menu inside configuration?
I don't think anybody thought about this consciously. Well, it's security, and there were already settings for security. Because
introducing a new top-level menu item is not something we do quite often, or when there is a new just module. Even if there are two modules, like today, HTTPS would be in configuration. And probably in the configuration, then security, then HTTPS, probably.
But it's not a new one. The security is already there by the users module or the roles module.
Okay.
Both.
Sure.
And we also had settings for login settings, and I think registration settings. That's fun here as well.
And if it was there, I didn't say anything. Security settings.
Yep. All right. So that's about it, I guess. And now let me show you something else, again by Hisham. So I'm just translating or just forwarding the news. So as you may know, Hisham has, sorry, I just started it. Hisham has this Orchid Core contrib organization on GitHub, and a couple of projects, including this modules project or solution, where he has added a lot of various modules. I think I've already demoed a couple of these. Now, the latest one is this content localization module and corresponding feature, which is about displaying a localization matrix. Now, what's a localization matrix? It is a matrix which is about content localization. Namely, if you go to the admin and open this one here, we didn't add a new menu item here either. The localization was there. Then you can see an overview of which content items are there in the system that are localizable. So you have localization parts attached, and which versions do they have. So as you can see, for example, for this blog post, we have the Hungarian and the US localization, checkboxes for both. For this blog post, we only have a Hungarian version, but no US version. And that's it. It's just a small useful feature if you want to have a more central way of having an overview of what kind of content is localized on your site.
It's not a small one. We talked about it for a long time, and I will make it more prominent in the content menu, like under the content localization matrix directly, not in configuration localization. It's not configuration here, it's content management. It's really,
yeah, that's a point.
Yeah, it's really, where is my content and what do I need to do now? And so that's a very good start. And I would add two features to that. First, a filter. So you can have some kind of search in this page, because if tomorrow you have 1,000 content items, you have to filter by type, by search by name, like we have on the content items page. And second feature that might be useful, or maybe not, maybe it's already good, it's to have a part like this that we can add to type, such that when you edit an item, you can see all the existing localization in other languages. But maybe we already have that. Maybe that's how it's. Can you edit? Yeah, just to see how it looks like. Yeah, so that's this one is fine because we see, but we don't see what's missing, right?
I'm not sure. Well.
Oh yes, you see. That's perfect. Okay, so that we don't need the part because this does already the job. Okay, but yeah, I will make it in the content menu item directly.
Yeah, that's a good point. And by the way, small, I didn't want to belittle the effort, but rather the simple to use. That's probably the better word.
Yeah. And you see here content item. Yeah, you need to group by type. You need to filter to order. Yeah, because that would be the next step. Probably.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's great. I know people have asked that for that. Everyone who is interested into localization with multiple languages, they need to have that because there is no way to keep track of what needs to be localized otherwise. Great. So my two favorite modules from Isham are this one and the dynamic data localization.
Yeah, he's pretty big in localization.
Good. Thanks, Zoltan, for
Right,
the demo, and thanks, Isham, for the modules. Questions, comments? Topics? We don't have series today. No topics. Oh, so sad. Okay. Nothing new websites. We've seen new modules. Well, that's it then. Thanks, everyone. See you on Thursday. No problem. Next week, Tuesday is fine also. Monday is Memorial Day in the US, but Tuesday is fine. So everything as usual. Thanks, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.